the monkey lovers out there in England, down under, the States, around the world, in Kowak. Monkey lizards make very good lovers. That's right, it's true, we're very good lovers. Well, apparently that's true. You'd have to talk to a monkey lizard or somebody that has frequented a relationship with a monkey lizard to find out. I, for one, have evaded a monkey lizard this evening. The monkey lizards are tied up. I think they parted themselves a little bit too hard last night. And I found a rare moment where they are all asleep. Which is fantastic. It's a very rare moment. So I'm going to take the opportunity to have a chat with my friends on the internet. And we've got a lot to talk about. So welcome to Bob Strikes Back. I am Bob Rum. I am monkey lizardless this evening, which some may thank for, and some may some of you may be crying out for a bit of monkey lizard love, and some of you, like me, may welcome a rare moment of a solace. Excuse me, I'm multitasking, you see. I'm simultaneously talking to you in the intro and also just putting this out on Instagram because I forgot to do it. So there we go. It's 7:30 Greenwich Mean Time in the UK, which means we're 5 hours ahead of our compatriots on the East Coast. So what's that? God, I'm going to show my poor maths now, aren't I? If it's 7:30 here, it's 2:30 Eastern Standard Time. So a lot of our compatriots will still be at work. To the fellow Brits and Europeans that are joining me, we've probably finished our hard day's work. And if you're anything like me, you finished work, you've watched the Book of Boba Fett, had something to eat and to drink, and you're now salivating at the prospects of what we can expect on episode 3. It's for our American friends, if you're still working. You've not got long to go. So, but welcome anyway. I know some of you like to stick on the old earbuds whilst you're working, and I appreciate that. If you want to come and hang with me, Bob Rum, for a little bit, I'll certainly be here for the next half an hour, maybe an hour, just talking some Boba Fett. There's plenty to talk about. Let's have a look in the chat and see who's hanging with us thus far. Our good friend the Tunnel. How you doing, sir? How are things with you? Tunnel's just watched the episode. Great. I should say, by the way, that I am going to be going through the episode today, so full-on spoilers. I found this great website I used for my first reaction video, where they've basically got photographs documenting the whole episode, so it's quite helpful. So I will be, if you've not seen the episode yet, how are you doing listening to me? Go and watch the bloody episode, you darn fools. We've got FD in the house, the fabulous disaster. Just finished the episode, fantastic. Great, so we can have a good chat about it. I'm really interested to hear everyone's opinions. It's one of the good things about our community is getting to share our opinions, what we liked, what we didn't like. We'll do a very traditional and old school evaluation here. Likes, dislikes, and things we could do to improve. Proper old school is Bob. I've got my bottle of water. My voice is a combination of streaming and then using my voice at work. My voice really struggles. So apologies in advance if the voice starts to go. Tunnel's got a joke for us. Come on there, Tunnel. Hit us with the joke. We love jokes around here. So come on, let us know what you've got. Rolando's in the house. How you doing, Rolando? Thanks for hanging with us, sir. I hope you're doing well. We've got Dino the Machino from the Geek Strong channel. He says, "Hey Bob, it's great to have a chat with you. I like Salacious, but I like to chat with you, Bob." Oh, well, thank you very much, Dino. I like to chat with you, as always. And sometimes the monkey lizards can take over a bit, can't they? And you can't get a word in edgeways. They're a bit immature from time to time, let's face it, as well. So sometimes it is just nice having a respite from all that malarkey. I hope you're doing well. I should imagine you're still at work, so thanks for putting in the old earbuds if you are, the old AirPods, and checking out, spending some time with Bob. We've got Jonathan from the Golden Isle. Good evening, Bob, Mark, Fabulous Tino. How you doing, Jonathan? Thanks for stopping by. And the low-spec Linux laptop. Hello, sir. Thanks for hanging by. I'm still awaiting my Spectrum NX, the NXT. I don't know if it's called the NXT. It's the NX. Oh, it is the NXT, isn't it? It's the Spectrum Next, and this will be the second variant. I don't know if you bought the first one off the Kickstarter, and the second one should be with us soon, I hope. So very much looking forward to that. I'm a bit of an old school computer nerd, as you can probably tell. Tunnel says, do UK websites use biscuits instead of cookies? Oh dear, that was the joke. That was the joke. The tunnel has the tunnel has arrived and descended on us, and brilliant, absolutely brilliant. We do use cookies. I think we we use cookies. We don't use biscuits. Perhaps on some of these matters, the universal lingo could be, if not universally adopted, could be confusing. So I think on this matter of accepting websites of credentials being stored, I think that's what a cookie is. We have adopted the universal language from our cousins across the pond. So no, we use, but great joke. I'm sorry, I just massacred it with a genuine explanation. Mikey, hey everyone, and I am one of the folks at work. God bless you, sir. You're doing the God's work. Mr. Ghost, the episode was fire. Thank you, sir. Thank you. There's the first. Get in there, Ghosties. He's in there straight away. This is what we want. We want to hear your opinions, man. I'm with you. I've just watched it. Oh man, I'm loving this whole new chapter in Star Wars content creation. I know it's not for everyone, but man, it's ringing a lot of Bob Rum's bells. You've got straight out of a Western. Oh, look, we'll come to it in a second. We'll go through it in a linear way. I'll just say I'm with you, Ghosty. My opening salvo, you say it's fire. I'm with you, man. It was. Don't know if it was fire, but it was sizzling hot for me. It was sizzling hot. Dina says, I thought episode 1 was a fire. Yeah, you did. You did not like that first episode, man. Yeah, I remember quite a few people being taken aback by that. But look, we're all entitled to have our views, and we all see things with a slightly different spectrum. It'd be pretty boring if we all saw things exactly the same way. So you think this one was better, up to a 7. So it'd be interesting to get some of your insights. I've got Rick from the left coast is what's shaking. Hello, sir. Thanks for hanging with Bob. I'm going to do a bit of a breakdown of this episode, so thanks for stopping by. A 50-minute episode worth every second. I didn't even realize, was it 50 minutes? God, I did not even pay attention to the time. So that's interesting. We've gone quite a big jump. I did not even notice, Tunnels was good. FD loved the episode. Man, there was a lot of cinematic parallels, a lot of inspirations in this episode. So it's going to be good. Hopefully I don't miss any. You'll have to call me out if I do as we go through it. But yeah, there was a lot of Easter eggs and callbacks to other pieces of cinematic history. So I love that about Favreau. They are appealing to our nostalgic side, unashamedly, I think, unashamedly pulling at our heartstrings in, at various places and giving us a little jostle and a little, do you remember this? Do you remember this? Do you remember this? And your mind starts wandering to different, different parts of cinematic history and where you were when you saw that and how old you were when you were influenced by that. And yeah, there's a lot of that, which I think Rogue One did quite well as well. But the Favreau and Filoni have got this. They're really starting to get into gear with it, I think. Mikey watched the episode twice before going to work. I couldn't. I'm too busy first thing. So I think it was on at 8 o'clock this morning, and that's prime time Bob work. So there was just no way I could have saw it this morning. So I waited all the way until after work, and I've just watched it. So better than episode 1. It's gonna grow. It's gonna grow to a little crescendo. I don't think it's going to be a massive crescendo, but it's going to build and it's slowly going to reveal more, I think, as the episode goes on. It's one of those pulling back the curtains type of, slowly reveals a little bit more as you're getting more and more flashbacks. It's kind of that kind of storytelling, which I'm a big fan of. Jonathan says, Boba Fett's show destroyed everyone's childhood. Murdered their dog, spit roasted all the monkey lizards, and it was the worst thing that ever happened to the planet. Boba Fett show destroyed everyone's childhood. Murdered their dog, spit roasted all the monkey lizards. What? I don't know. I'm sure there's a joke in there. He's got a big smiley face, but oh man. We're going to talk about lizards, man. I tell you what. If there are any Doors fans in the house, I know a lot of you are. I'm a massive Jim Morrison fan, but talk about the Lizard King. Talk about getting some lizard love. Massive acid trip there, wandering through the desert after licking a lizard or doing a bit more of a lizard. But yeah, there was some major Oliver Stone Doors stuff going on in this episode as well, with the fire and then the flashbacks to the seas. Man, I need to start going through this episode because before I forget stuff. But during that flashback sequence, they were flashing back between the dune seas of Tatooine, which obviously have suffered a massive drought at some point, and then the seas of Camino. And he was majorly hallucinating between those two environments. Real juxtaposition between his youth and the plentiness and bountifulness of the ocean planet of Camino, and then the droughts and the deserts and the former seas of Tatooine. Man, he was tripping balls at that section. But I was all over that. I was like, man, this could be straight out of a Jim Morrison record or video. Totally cool. Lefko says, I need some guest hosts on my Boba after show every Wednesday at 1 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I think that's just too early for me. I would love to shoot the breeze with you, Rick. Anytime. Love to have you on the Monkey Lizard Hangout show and Free Men. I think Pacific to 1 a.m. Pacific time. What time is that for the UK? 5. It's just too early. I'm working, unfortunately, so I'm getting up. But you're doing the God's work, sir. Low spec. You had a Commodore Vic and a C64. Yeah, it was my first. I was a Spectrum. The Atari ST was probably my proper first computer. So, and then into consoles and the Mega Drive. Ghosty says episode 1 was a good 8, but this one was a clear 9. Yeah, this one stepped it up. This one definitely stepped it up. FD says, I need that Wookiee Gladiator in Black Series. Yeah, we'll come to him. Definitely. I mean, that's a for sure Black Series figure. We'll come to him. So I just want to get caught up quickly, and then I'm gonna bring up this website and we'll go through it. Hey, buddy. Hey, Greedo. Thanks for hanging, man. Thanks for hanging. Hey, Cats. Thank you. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're okay. Thanks for hanging with me. I'm gonna go through this episode in a bit of detail. Ghosty, I don't care about the Jedi or the Sith. Give me this kind of content. Yeah, exactly. This is proper world building. I like this because it's like the comics and the books being brought to life. It's all that old EU material that a lot, we used to love, and we used to hanker for in live. It was always a common thing. We want to see more live Star Wars content, and we had to settle with the comics and the books and the EU, and this is basically all that, but brought to the screen. So I'm absolutely loving it. Dino's giving the episodes a lower score now. Yeah, so you'll play. Yeah, I understand that. It's good strategy. Start low, and then you've always got room for maneuver. Right, I think I've caught up with everyone. I've got Smirking Bear as well. Just finished the episode. He loves it. Great. Well, let us know what you think in a second. Got the Highland Collector as well. Watched it earlier. Loved it. Thank you, sir. Definitely want to hear about your opinions. I'm going to just make sure I've caught up with everyone. I think I have. Right. Okay. So I'm just going to share my screen and we'll go through the episode. For those that want to, if you don't want to go through this episode again, or you haven't seen it, then now is your time to go and do something else, because I'm gonna go through this, man, step by step, and give you my. Oh, what am I doing? I actually accidentally opened up my YouTube page then. Sorry about that. Right, let's add this to the stream. There we go. So this website, and I'm going to get absolutely massacred now because I can never pronounce it properly. It's oh god, it's here. Kakuchopure.com. Really random. I've probably mispronounced that, but it's like a pop culture website. But the reason I like it is they're pretty quick at putting in all of the images throughout the episode in a linear way. So that's why I'm using it, because hopefully I won't forget anything from the episode. So let's get to if I just move. I want to try and utilize two screens now so that I can see the website and then also StreamYard. Have I got the technical nous to do this? Should have. There we go. One there. Oh, it doesn't want to do it. Come on. Oh, it doesn't want me to do it. Oh, I can use that screen. All right, let's do it this way. Right. Okay, so yeah, so spoiler warnings. So yeah, end of last episode, they've caught this guy. I must admit, I was totally wrong. I thought that these guys in red were going to be found to be part of the Crimson Dawn, but absolutely not. And nothing to do with the Crimson Dawn. They were. They did say the name of their. They were like some assassination squad, and they did say the name, but I can't remember. But basically, it turns out they were hired by the mayor, and to really get him to reveal who hired him, they threatened him by dropping him into the Rancor pit, and that was the only way he gave up who had hired him. And it turned out it was the mayor. So basically, oh, that's a bit early. We don't want to get to him yet. The Black Chrysanthemum. But basically, all right, we'll skip to that then. So basically, they get on. They walk through town and they go and approach the mayor. There was that crazy. I tell you what's interesting about these new Star Wars bits is they put real life scenarios into Star Wars, don't they? So I don't know if it's kind of weird. Like it's a bit strange when you first see these real life scenarios in Star Wars, and it's quite it takes you out of it a little bit. So basically, the bit I'm talking about is when they go into the reception of the mayor's house, not the mayor's house, but the mayor's residence, and they go up to the reception table, and and there's a receptionist, and he's like, have you got an appointment? And it's very real worldy. And they kind of do it for laughs, and they play it, they kind of spin it in a comedy way. But yeah, it takes you out of it a little bit. It takes you out a little bit. But anyway, they eventually get a meeting with the mayor, don't they? And Boba basically confronts him. There's a bit of a stare down and a bit of a no one wants to lose any territory. And the mayor tells him to go to the cantina because there's some information that Boba needs to know. And so he goes into the cantina, and the cantina reveal that the twins are back. And of course, by the twins, he is actually meaning the Hutts, which was absolutely brilliant. And the Hutts turn up. We've got a picture of them. Here they are. And I thought that they actually realized them pretty well. Like, the visuals were pretty cool. And it's a brother and sister pair. They're tatted up look. And if anyone noticed, the older of the two siblings, or are they twins? No, they're probably the same age. The brother, anyway, has got this little tat goatee, and they were Jabba's cousins, which I thought was really cool. And then they bring out, there's a bit of posturing, and they bring out their hired thug, their hired guns, and it's this guy, I think I'm pronouncing his name right, the Black Chrysanthemum. And I must admit, I did get some of the early comics. Like, he was in Vader 1, I think. I haven't read this Dr. Aphra one, but I'm pretty sure he was in Vader comic 1. And I think he knows Boba. I think they've been on an outing on some kind of adventure together previously. So, but what a badass Wookiee he is, man. He is just totally badass. Very, very cool. Smoking says the Hutts looked good. The CGI, not bad for a TV series, I don't think. And Left's already drawing. Are you drawing the Black Chrysanthemum, or are you drawing the Hutts? Yeah, BK, man, so cool. Just so cool. What a great design, just a heavily armored and Wookiee he looks killer. We're bound to see more of him, aren't we? The crescendo is going to be them squaring off, and I suspect that they have got history together, and he will fall in line. I think. Here's a Bob wager for you. Okay, I like to have a little bet now and again. Here's a bit of a Bob wager, but I suspect this series will end up with some kind of crescendo, a standoff between the twins and Boba. They'll roll out the Black Chrysanthemum, and he will fall in line. And Boba will have the backing of the people of Mos Espa. He would have won them over. And he'll also have the Tuskens behind him. And I think this Wookiee will turn out to be on his side. So there's my little wager. If I'm wrong, you have to tell me what to do if I'm wrong. What is my forfeit going to be? Smoking says either BK will fight or team up. Well, yeah, there's 50-50, so I'm going on the side of team up. The guys hauling the Hutts around were strong. They were struggling, weren't they? That made me laugh. There was a couple of them that almost buckled. And you could see the weight of the I don't know what you'd call it, that they were being carried on. It was buckling in the middle, and they were really struggling. They were really struggling. Yes, Eric, they were shaking for sure. Hey, Sherry. Hey, the lovely Sherry. Thank you for stopping by. Hopefully you've seen episode 2 of the Book of Boba Fett. If you have, I'm just giving it a bit of a breakdown, so you're very welcome to join us. Yep, so they had a bit of a stare down, and it was actually the Hutts that backed down, and I think they said something like bloodshed is bad for business, and they retreated. So not really a victory, but a stalemate, shall we say? A stalemate. Hey, Crazy Eight, how's it going, dude? Thanks for stopping by. So where did we get to next? Let's go back on here. But yeah, what a cool design he is, man! Just absolutely badass. Right, and then I think it flashbacked again, didn't it? So I quite like this this flashback motif. We've seen it in other films, particularly where the protagonist has endured some kind of trauma, and they're using the motif to try and explain the trauma. But they're doing it in a slow and gradual way. You know, they're not hitting you with the whole thing. They're building up the picture of what happened and how the trauma was induced, and then how it manifested. And it's basically a way to show the character arc. So I think this is really good writing, actually, because you're going to get to see the character arc unveiled all the way through the series, rather than where you see poor writing, where somebody just explains a whole story in a paragraph in about a couple of minutes. And we saw that in The Rise of Skywalker. I mean, there were a few times where a whole film's worth of story was just revealed through somebody talking amongst a group of people. You know, like, oh yeah, the Emperor's back. And how did that happen? Well, it was dark magic, the Sith, just, really casual, off the hip kind of conversation about something quite serious and profound in the Star Wars universe. So very unimaginative way of storytelling. Whereas I quite like this because we've seen Boba's trauma. He's suffered trauma. And we're going to see him. We're going to see what maketh the man now. You know, he overcomes his trauma, and he goes through a hit. Well, whether it's some kind of archetypal hero's journey, which is, goes back centuries, to to the old books. This is the stories that are inbuilt in our modern mythologies, and this is, I think this is a really clever way of unveiling the character arc that that Boba goes on. But in any case, there's a kind of linked in another sort of side sort of story, isn't there? That the people that save him, are in first glance are a group of savages. The Tuscans, the Raiders, the Sand People, and they appear to be, on first glance, a group of savages. But actually, Boba, it reveals to us and to Boba that actually there is a society there, there is a civilization there with a structure, there's a class structure within the Tuscan Raiders. You've got the elder, and you've got the warrior, and I think there's like the female Tuscan. And then you've got they segregate into their roles, and then you've got the children, and you've got the pets, and there's actually quite a sophisticated society there, and they have humanity as well, which you don't see straight away. You just immediately see their savagery, but actually, as this story unfolds, you began to see their humanity. And I think Boba falls for them, and he sees it. And this is where you get to see the good side of Boba, because he realizes it too. And he is upset when the train comes by and kills off some of the tribe, because he feels at this point like he's always part of the tribe. So he wants to support them and help them. And he uses his skills and knowledge to develop a cunning plot. And the train sequence, man, will have, for all the fans of the great Western film or TV series, the train just brings so much nostalgia to Star Wars, and it's a perfect fit for Star Wars, really. It worked well in Solo with the sort of mountain train, and actually, I was shocked to see it first of all in Tatooine. I was like, we've never seen trains land trains on Tatooine, but actually, it's perfect, isn't it? You know, they don't need the infrastructure of railroad because they have hover tanks or whatever. And of course, they're going to need to transport goods. And it just harkens back to those old westerns and the the running of the train, and yeah, it was just super cool, just super cool. And yeah, there's a lot of films that have paid tribute to that. Back to the Future 3 is the one that kind of stands out as well, with a sort of retro train. I love the kind of steampunk element to the train as well. When you saw the robot in the engine room, it's very steampunk like, in that it's obviously future tech, but there's a lot of pipes and there's a lot of buttons and there's a lot of levers. So it's still although it's future tech, it's still very mechanical, very, very much based on mechanics and levers. And so I thought that was super cool. And the fact that it's Pike's spice running, just again, super cool connectivity to the rest of the Star Wars universe, the Kessel Mines, the spice running. I watched Dune recently, which was a big influence on Star Wars and spice, and there's a massive parallels between Dune and Boba Fett. Although Dune, I think, is more sophisticated. Star Wars George Lucas is slightly more literal. Yeah, so I loved this sequence. Dina says, what was the purpose of the train guys shooting and killing the Sand people? I guess, yeah, I questioned that first time around. I guess it's a proactive measure to prevent any pirates from attempting to run down the train. So I guess it was Tunnel says it was preemptive. Yeah, so I guess they've had attacks previously. They are carrying expensive cargo, so they're running spice, which is expensive. We've already seen there are biker squads. We saw the was it a Klartoonian biker squad previously? So I guess they it's running spice, Dino. It's not running spice across the sand dunes of Tatooine. No easy business. Now you could argue, and I'm sure and I have not seen any reactions yet. I've not seen any reactions on YouTube, and I'm sure, because I've just thought of it now, there are some people arguing, well, why are they on a land train? Why aren't they just flying it out on a spaceship? Yes, there's probably a logic deficit there. However, I'm willing to forgive the logic deficit of, give me the land train. It's just cooler. It makes the story more interesting. It's more nostalgic. It brings the Tuscans into action because they don't have spacecraft. So I'm willing to forgive that, and I'm willing to accept that for the purposes of this spice delivery, the land train, for whatever reason, we don't know the reason why, but for the purposes of this smuggling operation, a land train is more appropriate. So, and I'm willing to suspend my disbelief on that, and I'm not gonna cause a big ruckus by going, well, this is not acceptable. They should be flying it out in cargo, freight, spaceships, whatever. Give me the space train. It's cool. I'm 50-50 on the Tuscan hacker dance. Oh, what the hell? You're kidding me. We haven't got to that bit yet, because that was the end. But I am 150%. I'm 200% in on the dance. I'm looking forward to talking about that, because that's kind of like the ritualistic acceptance of Boba into the tribe. And that's how we manifest our, that's how we our group identities are formed out of music and dance, and whatever culture or society you go to, they have their own music and they have their own dance. And this was Boba being indoctrinated and finally accepted into the Tuscan tribe. So the dance was absolutely brilliant. Well, we're not even on the dance yet, but the dance for me was the perfect way to end. And the fact that Tamura is Maori, and there are overtones of, of not overtones, but there are parallels of, his own culture, if you like, in terms of, a formalized warrior dance. I thought it was super cool. Yes. Hey, Neil, how's it going? Yes, they wanted to protect their route. Yeah, for sure. We'll come back to the hacker dance because I think it was cool. Land train is less likely to draw attention. There you go. So you can come up with rationale, can't you? And I'm willing to suspend my disbelief for it. So the lizard up nose was out there, man. It so was. Maybe just blowing the dust in his face would have been less mental. Yeah. Now, so that was interesting, wasn't it? When did he start hallucinating now? Was it because of some spice? Did he get a blast of spice? Or was this a Tuscan tradition? Was this a tribal tradition of, again, before you become indoctrinated, you've got to take the lizard test. You're not going to lick it. You're going to get the lizard intravenously injected through your nose. So all of those lizard chemicals are going to be rippling through your body, and you're going to go on one hell of a space trip. So anyway, let's move on. Let's keep this train going. Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah, we jumped on quite a bit. So is this before or after the lizard? When did he make his weapon? Oh, so they haven't broken this one down quite as well, actually. So I think it's after this sequence, isn't it? Is it either through flashback, or I think they travel back to. Do they travel back? I can't even remember. Do they travel back to the Tuscan village, or does he just start having? Does its screen wipe to them in the village, or does he automatically start having a flashback? I can't remember how it transitions from this bit to the lizard sequence, but I think it is the lizard sequence that is next. I think it is the lizard sequence that is next. I'm having problems recalling. No, but I think it was. Dino says, if some people are not familiar with the technology like a swoop bike, then why do they steal parts? Well, they obviously are familiar with the technology, but clearly they've not mastered it. Clearly, they've mastered some technologies. That's why I think it's unfair. I think I think in first glance, because they don't use technology, your initial reaction, a Western reaction, would be, that they are uncivilized or savage, or but it's only through spending time with them and learning their ways that actually they're a sophisticated society, and there may be reasons for them not wanting to adopt the technology. We don't know, but clearly the planet was once covered in water. So through some kind of global warming, their ancestral home is now a desert. So I don't know, that there could be all kinds of reasons, but they aren't adopting all of the technologies that are found, in other societies on Tatooine, are they? So I think the dust blew into his face was the spice. Maybe that was it. Maybe it was after the spice got to him that we then got the lizard sequence. Hashtag lizard nose challenge. I love it. I absolutely love the lizard challenge. I'm actually really surprised that Disney allowed this. When you think about it, when you actually just think back, retrospectively think about what happened in this episode. I mean, this is the equivalent of Amazon toad licking, or DMT, or LSD, or mushroom moshing, in the park in Amsterdam, or whatever. Or because it's in the desert, it takes me straight to the Doors. I just go straight to Jim Morrison. If any of you have seen the Oliver Stone film The Doors, I mean, it's totally over stylized, and probably not really totally, very very realistic, but some of the imagery and scenery of him alone in the desert on acid, basically. I mean, that's why he got the name the Lizard King. So, hey Tina, how's it going? We're getting in deep. We're going in deep on episode 2. I think he got a blast of the spice that made the lizard jump in his nose. So whether the lizard is real or not is up for debate, I think, isn't it? Is the lizard a consequence of the spice? Was the lizard even a thing? Did he make up the lizard? And that was not make it up, but this is what played out in his mind. So was this a whole trip sequence? Or do you actually think so? Was it the spice that induced it, or did he have some spice and then they went back to the village and then the lizard was real and then he went into the whole trip? Who knows? But lizard snorting is now a thing, and I'm pro lizard, as you already know. I'm pro lizard, especially when it leads to positive experiences like this. Oh my god, please go and watch episode 2. Stop listening to me. I'm just talking nonsense. Go and watch it, and then we'll chat afterwards. Don't listen to me. Tuscans on spice hallucinations, laughing my ass. Brilliant. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. I think it was after. Okay, cool. Let's keep the train going. Metaphorically and physically, this whole kind of train episode I just thought was absolutely brilliant. So I can feel my voice about to go. The weapon was after the lizard. Right. We'll just go into the lizard trip then. Because the lizard trip was basically him stepping out. It was an out-of-body experience, which is pretty much a DMT experience or an acid experience. It was an out-of-body experience where his mind and his conscious went into different spheres or different dimensions of being and understanding, and he was tripping. It was a major trip. But anyway, some of the imagery to look out for then was and basically it manifests itself in the traumas that you've had, major experiences of your life, traumas that you've not let go. It's often why these kind of treatments can actually be good for curing, or not curing, but helping people get through trauma. But anyway, major trauma in his life obviously was the killing of Django, and so that's still with him. He's not resolved that mentally. That's still baggage that he's carrying. His life as a clone on Camino, and he probably knows what happened to Camino. I mean, talk about what we saw in Bad Batch. I mean, the remaining clones must know what happened in Bad Batch. I mean, that was basically genocide on behalf of the Empire. I mean, that was, the cloners, the Caminos, they were basically destroyed, weren't they? Wiped out by the Empire. So there's some genocide there. How much does he know of that? I don't know. The potential trauma of being a clone, I don't know. There was the Sarlacc pit trauma that was, permeating through the imagery of branches. And so it was switching between branches and then the intestines of the Sarlacc. So the imagery was flicking between intestines and branches that were kind of encapsulating him in a kind of, the Sarlacc's womb, or the heart of the tree, and he was trying to break out. And then it was flashing back between the desert and the sea. And that for me was the coolest bit. So you were seeing the desert, and it didn't click with me until later in the episode when he said your ancestors know this land. You know every inch of the dune seas. And of course it was all sea once, and they've survived. There must have been some huge global warming event or something. So the sea, the contradiction and the dual nature of the sea and the desert, in many ways, he's experienced both. He's experienced both, hasn't he? Growing up on Camino, the sea planet, and now, a second chapter of his life on the desert planet. So I just thought the whole trip sequence was totally cool. I might be reading more into this, but in my head, I thought the trip sequence was so cool. Jonathan says, I thought the water was due to his child. Yes, exactly. So 100%, I totally agree with you. But it's also a juxtaposition, isn't it, on the dune seas. That's what they call it on Tatooine. So that would all have been sea, and it's dried up. Oh, hey, Daniel Char. How's it going, dude? Daniel says, when Boba beat up the biker gang at Toshi Station, all I could hear and think of was the Black Widow music from Every Which Way But Loose. That is so cool. My God, was that Toshi Station? God, you've just was that Toshi Station? Oh, I'm gonna have to go back and look at the deleted scenes from A New Hope. You may have just enlightened me to something else that I did not. I've not read anything on this, so I've watched the episode and I'm just reacting now. So, God, it could be. Oh, you could be right. Oh, Daniel, you little beauty. So there is a deleted scene, isn't there, from A New Hope when Luke goes to Toshi Station. He's hanging out. It is Toshi Station because they play the computer game, don't they? And that they play the arcade machine. I think that's in Toshi's. I think that's in the deleted scene. Daniel Char, you little beauty, you beautiful man. I didn't even pick up on that. I didn't. There's me going off on the lizard trip, and I didn't. I missed out the whole Toshi Station thing. Super cool. That's more on your nose, isn't it? So that's where sometimes Favreau and Filoni get a little bit of criticism for a little bit too on the nose. Like there must be plenty of stations, and he happened to be at Toshi's, but I don't care, man. Give me all that. I'm loving it. Now that I know that, I like it even more. Daniel says, yes, it was Toshi Station, and the woman and the man were Cammy Marstrap. Oh, you are kidding me. Really? Do you know, she looked familiar. And he had kind of like that mop hairdo from the 70s. So he kind of looked like Jesus, that's real direct, that is, isn't it? That's a real direct Easter egg. That's properly on the nose. Okay, I'm still loving it. So that for me, cool, just cool for the. And I think because Star Wars spans so many generations now, there are Easter eggs for everyone, aren't there? Which I think is quite cool. I mean, I was born in '79, so don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm not saying, Daniel, that you're an oldie there, and I'm a young'un for missing that. I'm straight out of the OT generation, but I just miss that. However, the railway imagery, the lizard, the doors imagery, was killer for me, absolutely killer. And then the weapon making. So he comes back. He transcends the metaphysical trip with a physical branch. With a physical branch. So you know something. So you don't know how much of the trip what we're seeing is real, on how much of it's in his mind, but you do know he somehow came back to the village with a physical branch. So you know something has happened there, or whether this is some mystical Tuscan shit. I don't know. But anyway, he comes back with the branch, and you could tell straight away that the branch was already shaped like it could be a gaffy stick. So it was kind of like a gaffy stick in the making, wasn't it? But it was brilliant. It was like you'd have to be indoctrinated into the tribal ways, into the society of the Tuscan. Then you have to take he's proved himself loyal, and he's proved himself a family member, and then he takes a ritual chemical, the lizard, which tests his his mental and moral. It's like a moral test, isn't it? It's like testing the man, and he comes through with flying colors because he comes out of it with a branch. If he'd have come out of it without that branch, if he'd have entered back into the physical state without the branch, then he'd have failed. There was to be a sign there to the Tuscan Raiders that he isn't one of us. But he did. He came through with the branch, and so he was then shown the ways of crafting that into a proper gaffy stick. And then that he creates and forges this beautiful gaffy stick, not unlike the Mandalorian helmets, imagery of the helmet being forged, and the accoutrements, the logos and the pauldrons, very similar, adornments, isn't there, for your culture. So he creates the gaffy stick, and then then there's one final ceremony, the final ceremony to be fully indoctrinated into the Tuscan ranks, and that is the ceremonial dance. And I'll probably watch it again, and I'll have a little smirk and a little giggle, but I absolutely thought it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. And they recreate the steps, that the warrior Tuscan showed him, the how to use the gaffy stick, and then they all get up and start doing it until the whole tribe is circling the fire with their gaffy sticks. And it is kind of hacker-like. It's ceremonial. It's cultural. He's being indoctrinated. He is now a Tuscan. Boba Fett is who'd have thought? Who would have known? Boba Fett, the one that for many years was a mystery. Was he a Mandalorian? We don't know. I think he probably, he was a form of a Mandalorian. But one thing we can be sure of, he is now a Tuscan. And the Tuscans have got his back. So whatever happens between him and the Hutts and any other strife he's got, he's got the Tuscans on his side now. And what was it they were saying? What was it? Who was it that gave him advice? It was the mayor. The mayor gave him advice about you don't need the throne. It's not the throne that makes you the leader. How about that? Bit of a callback to that. It isn't the throne that makes you the leader. Because at the end of the Mandalorian, the big thing was he'd taken the throne. Wow, no. It's not just the throne that makes the man the leader. You need to have leadership qualities. You need to earn the respect of your troops. You need to have a set of morals or values that your team believe in. They need to trust you. You need to trust them. Just because you've inherited the title does not mean you're going to be a successful leader. He knows this, so the mayor's teaching him this, but he knows this because he's already, was this pre or after? See, this is where the flashbacks, I think he's already been indoctrinated into the tribe. He's already won his tribe. And I suspect this will be the first of many tribes that he wins. And he's already got his crew, and his crew trust him, and he trusts them, and he's already started building his little army. So, right, let's see what people think. So that's the end of it. They ended with him dancing, performing the ceremonial Tuscan haka, if you like. And you couldn't get a better actor to do it. Tamora, New Zealander, Kiwi, Maori. It's very much, a form of a haka, or every culture has, their own dance, if you like. Yeah, man, I was actually blown away by this episode. Right, let's see what people think. Yes, it was Tashi for sure. Bob, Google Boba Fett Toshi Station and go to images. Okay, I'll have a look in a second. Gaffy stick making was awesome. Yes. Yeah, because crafting your weapon or your ceremonial robes. Oh, I missed the bit when they robed him. That was cool as well, wasn't it? When he was adorned in robes, yeah, that was really cool. And he's in like the black, the more senior of the Tuscans seem to wear the black robes, which is kind of more Bedouin like. The Bedouins wear darker. I think they have dark layers of fabric to keep them cool, which is sort of, you'd think would be counterproductive, but actually I think it does keep them, because it's multi-layered. I think it does keep you cooler. But yeah, I missed that bit as well. He gets the robes, doesn't he, and the cloak, and then the gaffy stick. So, but yeah, the gaffy stick was beautiful. I mean, probably a bit of suspension of disbelief there that he was able to craft one. So that probably took a bit longer than we saw. But again, I'm willing to suspend my disbelief. This is a sci-fi fantasy program. If you can't suspend your disbelief for a fantasy series, then you're missing the point. This is not real. This is another world that we can go and visit, because our world can sometimes become monotonous and painful and is a struggle. And so being able to, I'm linking in Luke's channel here, by being able to escape reality and go to any world but ours, we are somehow helping to ease the burden of our struggling existence, because life is struggle. A monkey lizard army armed with gaffy sticks will take over the world. Smirking Bear, you and I, man, we're starting it together, dude. 100%. And we'll be armed with mini lizards that we will let loose, and they will intravenously inject themselves through your noses, so that all of our victims will have DMT trips and then realize that they wanted to be part of the harmonious monkey lizard army anyway, because it's a cool place to be. Jonathan says there's going to be a ton of homemade gaffy sticks showing up. You bet they'll be selling them at Galaxy's Edge. You bet the Disney people were like salivating at that bit. Oh, the gaffy sticks. Yeah, Galaxy's Edge will be get the gaffy stick will be a top seller. I want a little lizard. I want a lizard. I'm sure when the monkey lizards wake up and see the episode, they'll all want lizards too. G-Force, hey Rum, haven't seen this yet. What the hell, G-Force? G-Force, we love you. We love you, G-Force. But please, stop listening to me and go and watch the bloody episode. You crazy fool. You crazy fool. Mando Tuscan Damo. Daimo. I can never pronounce that right. I need to learn how to pronounce that. Family, yes, very much another Star Wars value, isn't it? Another core Star Wars value, and we really learnt the ways of the Tusken family, didn't we? In this episode, they ceased to become. Well, I think from the Mandalorian, we'd already recognized that, but they expanded on this, and we really got to see the inner workings of the Tuskens again, which is cool. I'm pro Tusken, man. Those guys are cool. I'm pro Tusken. I was kind of wondering whether we're going to see what's under the mask, because you can imagine that there's been some kind of this an indigenous group to Tatooine that were probably there tens of thousands of years ago, and have managed to survive Tatooine becoming a severe drought. So I wonder if that's what effects that's had to their physiology. So I wonder what's under the mask, whether they've got shriveled up faces, or I don't know, some kind of genetic, something genetic has has evolved for them to survive the desert. I don't know. Easier to be a bounty hunter than run a family, something like that. Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. Yeah, he wants, just because you sat on the throne, you're a bounty hunter doesn't mean you're a crime boss. Well, I think Boba's probably keeping more under his in his chest, in his lockup. He's got some more experience than perhaps the mayor thought. So Cammy and Fixer were too young. Gonna have to do the maths on that. So A New Hope, Empire, Return of the Jedi, plus 10 years. Yeah, you're probably right. They probably should have been. They probably should have been. They probably should have looked a bit older. Now you've said that. But again, I'll suspend disbelief on that one. Well, this is set right after Return of the Jedi, so around that age. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So New Hope and Empire, I think, is like 3 years, and then another 3 years, I think, for Return of the Jedi, 10 years, so 16 years, maybe. Is this 16 years after A New Hope? Would that be right? Someone can correct me. 15 or 16 years after A New Hope, I think this is set. The robes remind me of Imhotep from The Mummy. Oh, cool. Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Like that. Not like they get the original actors. So yes, sorry, a hit documentary series. Absolutely right. Who said sci-fi series? It's a hit documentary series, for God's sake. Lego Tuskens would be cool. Would have been around 25 at this time. Oh, okay. Well, they didn't look too bad. They, maybe 30 at the most. Okay. Well, I think they're okay. I bet Galaxy's Edge will probably start selling. Yes. Sorry, I must be behind in the chat. I agree. G-Force is on an epic gauntlet run. Yep, get the figures. Let me go from the bottom up. That'd probably be easier. I think we get to see Under the Tusken Mask in Chapter 3. Oh, that'll be cool. Or do we want to see it? I don't know. Maybe actually that's probably what we. That's maybe there's an argument for saying that's taking it too far, and we've learned enough, and maybe something should be sacrosanct. Maybe the mystery of what's under the mask should be left a mystery. There is an argument that we of being given too much. So I don't know. If the Empire destroyed his homeworld, then why would he work for Vader Empire? Did he sell out? Well, I suspect. Well, it's not his homeworld. Well, it's how you look at it, isn't it? It's how would you define Camino? I mean, he was born there out of a test tube, wasn't he? You know, he wasn't born on a Mandalorian home on one of the Mandalorian planets. Django was, but Boba wasn't. He was born out of a test tube on Camino. Maybe he doesn't know. Maybe we know because we've seen the Bad Batch. Camino is a planet on the far reaches of space. We know that because it wasn't in the Jedi archive. Only one had a job finding it. He needed to go and see his mate Dexter to try and work it out. So maybe it's possible that Boba doesn't know. I think we've probably got to assume that he probably doesn't know. Imagine if Darth Krayt makes an appearance. He's originally a Tusken Jedi from Tatooine. Oh, that would be cool. I think there was a Darth Krayt figure. I love that figure. Very, very cool. Yeah, I was kind of wondering whether that warrior Tusken had any kind of Force influence, because that warrior, whether it's the warrior or the female, it's got a kind of dark, looks like a dark wig or dark hair or a dark robe, but I don't think so. But just looks badass. Boba dances with. Oh, have I missed? I don't want to see Under the Mask. It will never live up to expectations. Yeah, I think you're probably right. I think that's probably right. You know, should be late 30s like Luke. Is it late 30s? 10 years after Return of the Jedi, Luke would have been early 20s in Return of the Jedi. I would have thought. Isn't he 18? Is he 18 in A New Hope? So he's early 20s in Return of the Jedi. 10 years after that, he's early 30s, I would have thought. Not late, I don't know. It's probably not much in it. This episode takes place 6 or 7 APY, okay. I don't think the female Tusken warrior is someone we already know. No, I don't think so either. I think we get to see Omega. That's a really good question, Eric. Because clearly Omega holds some symbolic importance, doesn't she? You know? She definitely does, just by her name and by the fact that she has more inherited abilities. She's like the best of them, isn't she? She's the best of all of the clone DNA. So she's important in the Filoniverse. No two ways about it. She's an important character. And are we going to see an animation, real life TV crossover? I think we are, aren't we? I think, they've already said these series are going to lead to a crescendo event. Are they including Bad Batch in that? I don't know. Be good if they did. She's a clone. She's the best of the clone DNA. Be interesting. I think they've got, considering the main Star Wars Skywalker saga has been told, there is still so much fertile storytelling left in Star Wars, which is why I'm never one of those pessimists that is like, Star Wars is done. There's no more good storytelling in Star Wars. It's done. It's finished. Well, not for me. For me, there's a ton of lore and myth, and there's a ton of stories still to be told, even within this existing time frame. Between the prequels and the sequels. So I'm excited about how they're going to weave all this together. Omega, Ahsoka, the Mandalorians, Boba. There's a whole, there's a ton of stuff that can be done. So, and the one thing that I really want them to do is to write the bloody stories, not go make up something, then write the bloody stories. And I think they're doing that. I think they're at least coming up with arcs. I think you have to come up with a story arc if you're going to tell the story through the prism of flashbacks, aren't you? Because you've got to write where that's going. So I think they've learned their lessons. The Tusken that taught Boba how to fight with the Galaxy stick is going to play a major role, possibly. Connor, I just woke up now on the couch, and I don't know what galaxy I'm in. So Connor, I totally relate. Now we're back at work. I totally relate to getting home from work, putting the TV on, having something to eat, falling asleep, and then waking up and being in a total dream state. So if that's what's happened to you this evening, I totally relate to that. Bob's back at work. The monkey lizards are in another part. They're asleep somewhere. So this is just me. I've just watched Boba Fett, and this is just me spewing my thoughts about it. And I'm going to give this episode, you might be shocked on this one, I don't know. I'm giving this a 9 space bananas out of 10. For me, this episode was absolutely brilliant. I loved it. The whole train sequence and the lizard sequence and the gaffy stick making and the dance, just absolutely brilliant. We've never have we seen an acid experience before in Star Wars, like a literal one? I don't know if we have. We've seen Force experiences, haven't we? We've seen Luke, in his Force cave, getting freaked out by it. But that's the Force. This is a chemically induced lizard trip that Boba goes on that manifests his past traumas and future existence, and they manifest in a physical branch that he then crafts into a traditional Tusken gaffy stick, which allows him to be formally indoctrinated into the Tusken tribe, which they anoint at the end with the traditional Tusken hacker dance that they all join up in, and we end the episode with them on that on that ride, man. Totally cool. I'm so down. Favreau, well done. Filoni, well done. The director, I think it was a lady director that I don't recall her name, and apologies those that are watching this. I forgot her name. I don't know her name, but fair play to you. Well done. Well, it was well directed. I'm down for this. Why did they waste all the water? Bit of a comedic element, I think, thrown in there. Bit of a comedic element. Jonathan, I don't think the Bad Batch just caught the fan love of the shows of the Clone Wars and Rebels. Yes, although the Clone Wars was not loved after the first season, nor was Rebels. In fact, Rebels had a big backlash after the first season. I did not enjoy the first season of Clone Wars. Took me 3 seasons to get into that. Took me 2 seasons to get into Rebels. So I'm willing to give Bad Batch some more time. I ended up loving Rebels and Clone Wars, but it took me a while with both. So, Steph Green, thank you, sir. Steph Green, well done to you, Steph Green. I'm sure she was well supportive, but pressure's on delivering a Star Wars, delivering live action Star Wars, and you definitely delivered. Did I say Steph Green? Steph Green. Steph Green. Steph Green. Yeah, I'm getting a Mandalorian dumb as a box of monkey lizards vibe with Boba in the modern story. What? I'm getting a Mandalorian. So people aren't liking the present day storyline. I really do not care about the present day. What is the present day storyline then? What do you mean by the present day storyline? Because There is no present day storyline in Star Wars, is there? It goes all the way up to the sequels. So do you mean after his indoctrination with the Tuscans and it's him now trying to take over the Hutt cartel? Is that what you mean? Star Wars Santa, hello, sir. Thank you for stopping by. The monkey lizards are away, Star Wars Santa. You haven't got to worry about them. They've been partying too hard, and so this is Bob's opportunity to discuss Star Wars. I hope you're doing well. Star Wars Santa says, I'm fascinated by the present-day storyline, the Hutts, the Crimson Dawn, the Pikes. Yeah, I was almost convinced that the assassins in their red robes in the last episode were Crimson Dawn, but they were not. So that was interesting. Crime Lord Boba, people are less interested in. Okay, I mean, we've got to see how it plays out, haven't we? It's great. I'm really glad that they're not going to make this easy for him. The Hutts have ruled their cartel for thousands of years. They're not just going to roll over because one of the old bounty hunters decides he's going to take up the throne. No, sirree. So if he wants that throne, he's got to work his ass off for it. So I'm really glad they did that and they brought the Hutts in. And they visualized them pretty well for a TV series, I've got to say. So I'm glad to see the Hutts back. Slightly disappointed we've still not had a monkey lizard. I was when I saw those Hutts turning around the corner on their mobile throne, I was like, give me a monkey lizard. Just give me a little. The ear was out for a little laugh, a little squawk, but nothing. God damn it, Favreau. Just give us one monkey lizard. We got our acid lizard, so he was cool, but no monkey lizard as yet. The biker fight was 1,000 times better than the assassin. The biker fight was cool. Didn't really talk about that, did I? Yeah, because you get a little montage of him teaching the Tuscans. He teaches them how to use the bikes. Quite funny. I mean, when the chief, not the chief, but one of the more senior Tuscans gets on the bike and then reverses himself, that was funny. I mean, if you don't have a little cheeky laugh at that, I mean, it made me laugh. Yeah, and then this is where Boba comes into his own. There's a reason Jango Fett was selected as the clone, because Jango was well trained. In the he was a badass Mandalorian soldier and bounty hunter. He's got skills, hasn't he? And he's got tactical nous, as we've seen with the clones in the Clone Wars. So he quickly devised a plan to take out that the land train. I mean, the land train posed no problem to Boba. If he had more manpower, it would have been easier for him. As it was, he basically utilized the Tuscans, brought them up to speed on the speeder bikes, and they somehow managed to pull it off. There were some dicey moments on there because the Pikes have got badass guns with long range, and they saw off quite a few of the Tuscans early on. I loved the train top fight, straight out of Indiana Jones or Back to the Future or any of those old adventure films or those old Western films, the old Western heist films. Actually, there's been so many movies with train heists. Mission Impossible, there was a train top fight there at the end of the movie. So yeah, I thought that whole sequence was cool. And they condensed quite a lot into this episode, actually. Now that I'm running the whole thing back, they condensed quite a lot in. Solo, yeah, in Solo as well, for sure. Still 4 years or so of time to catch up on with more flashbacks coming. Yeah, and I don't mind it. You wouldn't want to do it longer than the season, but it makes sense for the storytelling methodology for this season, doesn't it? That they're using this way of unveiling episode by episode Boba's journey, you know, and his arc, his hero's journey, if you like, is being revealed through this mechanism, and I like it. I'm down with it. You can't do it forever, but for this season, I think it's gonna be cool. Don't know if we're gonna see Han Solo. It could be an interesting twist. Doubt it, but who knows? I don't think Solo's going to turn up. I don't think he will. Lawrence of Arabia, very, very good. Yeah, brilliant. Lawrence of Arabia, yeah, fantastic. So some greats. There's a lot of nods, isn't there? Right, so how long? I've been going an hour and 20 minutes. That's enough nonsense from me. Hopefully, well, maybe there's some things in there that I've picked out that you didn't think of. I don't know. You certainly enlightened me. Thank you to everyone for hanging out with me. Daniel Char, thank you for telling me about the Toshi station. That didn't even twig with me. So that was cool. Yeah, I'm pro Boba. I'm pro Boba Fett at the moment. The first episode, I gave it an 8. This is a step up. This is a 9 for me. A 9 out of 10. Brilliant. I am going to do a little bit of a live stream tomorrow because I have got some boxes to unbox. So it won't be a long one. But I will do maybe around a similar time, a half hour unboxing for those that are interested. I have no idea what it is. But yeah, thanks for hanging with me. It's great chatting Star Wars. Loved this episode. 9 out of 10 Space Bananas for me. Let me know in the chat how many Space Bananas you're giving it. Thanks for hanging out with me. And remember, everybody, monkey lizards are for life. And they are not, most definitely not, for spit roasting. Goodbye, everyone. Some things just have to be said to all the monkey lovers out there in England, down under, the States, around the world, in Kowak. Monkey lizards make very good lovers. That's right.